How's it going, YouTube? Yeah, Pat Mac here, coach of the Sacramento Sand Slash, bringing you the draft analysis of the TGR Restricted League. We are in Season 3 at the moment, and I wanted to talk about the team and give a draft analysis. I talked a little bit about my team and the power rankings, but I wanted to go a little bit more in depth and talk about the Pokemon that we picked and why we picked it and whatnot. If you'd like to see our team along with every other team while I chat about the teams with both Brave and Matrix, you can definitely check out that video also in the channel in the same playlist for this. And before I start talking about the team, I want to give a huge shout out to the mods for TGR. In particular, I want to specifically call out Brave and Mr. Marshadow. Two of them play a key role in making a lot of our like resources available to people. So like all the graphics and stuff, the intro that you saw, Brave created that, and a lot of the graphics like the logo we're looking at right now were created by Brave. And then the doc that we use for the league were both of the Restricted and the Thrifty Tussle docs were both created by Mr. Marshadow, and they're freaking amazing. Those docs are fantastic, and they really help the league to run smoothly. So I really want to thank the two of them in particular for what they do to help the league run. So let's talk about the team now. This is actually like my I don't even know how many times I've tried recording this, and every time I do, I start talking about the team, and there's just so much here. Like the synergy, the offensive power, the defensive options, the everything. It's just so cool. So I don't know. I really want to stop trying to record this, so I'm just gonna roll with this one, however it goes. So the team just has a lot of really good elements to it. It's got a lot of options for speed control. It's got a lot of options for synergy. It's got a lot of offensive firepower. It's got a lot of defensive utility. And I really just enjoy how the team looks on paper. And I think it's really hard to prep for. So maybe I'll talk you through the process that I went through in terms of like why I drafted each Pokemon and the placement that I did and whatnot. Just a little bit about the graphic. Veltal was my first pick, and then it kind of goes in a zigzag up and down. So like Comfy was my third pick, for example, and then Jellicent was my sixth pick, and Drampa was fifth. So like there's a zigzag happening, and Alolan Sand Slash was the last one. So that's just kind of generally how the graphic works in terms of the picks that I did and the order and whatnot. So you can kind of get a sense for like a little bit of the thought process from the ordering of the picks. So I'll talk about the first three together, because I think that those three, whenever I do a draft, I always try to look for what cores I can get that work well together. So Veltal being first pick, I honestly think it's just like round one, you just pick whatever looks really cool. Like a really powerful Pokemon that you could build around and kind of play around it and have some fun with it. So I was picked 7 out of 12, so right smack dab in the middle, and Veltal fell to that spot, which I was like freaking crazy excited about. I was planning on grabbing like some of the higher power Intimidate Pokemon, like a Landorus or an Incineroar or something like that. But Veltal just seems so cool, and I'd actually just played a game against it in my Pack Ubers league, or I was prepping for it, something like that. But Veltal looked really cool, so I just wanted to grab it. Obviously, really powerful Pokemon. I could go into all of the different things that it can do. Well, why not? I don't know. This is a draft analysis, right? This is what we do. So it's super bulky, right? Like crazy HP stat. Pretty solid speed at like base 99. Both physical and special power, like 131 in both of those. So like a really difficult mon to prep for, because it's well, I guess one option is like, what if I go weakness policy, for example, right? Then I could technically go both physical and special in the same match, and that makes it really difficult to prep for example, and of course we have Comfy to trigger that. Or I can just go like all max attack Bandage, for example, and just do a like crazy amount of damage. So it's a super hard Pokemon to prep for. really difficult to figure out, like, how are you going to build a team that can take special hits or physical hits from it, and also be able to break through it. Like, Oblivion Wing is no joke, and when you set it next to Comfy, like, it's just going to heal through crazy amounts of damage. And it just, so it just ends up being like a really hard Pokemon to take down. And I grabbed Marowak, Alola Marowak in the second round to pair along with it. I actually picked it before Comfy, even though like the two of those have super crazy synergy, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So I picked Alola Marowak alongside it because, well, one, I noticed that a lot of the teams that I draft, just in general, I don't usually have a really strong fire type. And so like that's kind of something that was in the back of my mind a little bit here. But the main reason for grabbing Alola Marowak was, well, I just wanted to use that Pokemon for a really long time. So I don't know, that's part of it too. What's the main reason? I don't know, there were a lot of reasons. It goes super well with Veltal though, I think. They only share one weakness in Rock. So that's kind of good, right? Like that's just in and of itself a pretty strong option. And then they also kind of mitigate, or like, I don't know how to put it. Like their weaknesses, they don't share very many of them aside from that rock weakness, and they resist what the other thing is weak to. So like not only do they not share many weaknesses, but they resist the others. So I like that's a pretty cool option too. So like Fairy, Ghost, Dark, Ice, Electric, you know, like one of those Pokemon is weak and the other one resisted or is immune to it with like Lightning Rod on Marowak, for example. So the two of those Pokemon work pretty well together, I think. And they also have very different speeds. So like already in the first two picks, I've managed to pick a like heavy like sweeper outside of Trick Room, and I've picked a really heavy Trick Room sweeper in Alola Marowak. So like the two of those Pokemon force different kinds of prep. Like, am I going to go for a Trick Room mode, or am I going to go for a fast mode? Like, even like Veltal has Tailwind, right? That's freaking crazy. So like, I could go for a fast mode or a slow mode. So like, just those two together give me that option. And then I went with Comfy next round. I've already talked a little bit about the synergy with the Veltal and like how crazy hard it is to get through Veltal with Comfy by its side. But I actually was really debating the Comfy pick because it's like a super known synergy. Like I used Galarian Moltres in one of my UGA runs, and like my draft channel's name is Gotta Draft 'Em All, right? So like I'm kind of interested in picking up different Pokemon and trying to play around with different ideas. But anyway, I decided to go with Comfy. The other Pokemon that was on my mind was Porygon 2, actually. So essentially I wanted kind of like a Trick Room setter for that slot. And I think that both of those Pokemon work well with the other two. So it was really like a toss-up. And it wasn't until I was kind of looking ahead in my draft plan, and you can see I got Drampa there, that I was planning on grabbing that as like a normal type. And as well as just being like kind of a Trick Room sweeper with special offense, that I decided to go with Comfy. Otherwise, I think I would have gone with P2. Anyway, so that's some of the thought process of when I was going through the draft. But Comfy obviously synergizes with the two of those. I already talked about how it works with Veltal, which is probably the more like easily noticeable synergy, aside from the healing in general that it gives. But it's also a Trick Room setter, right? So like I can have Alola Marowak next to Comfy. I can look to set Trick Room and look to sweep through that way. And then of course Comfy has like really good priority. Triage is freaking crazy, making all those healing moves with like crazy massive amounts of priority. It's got Ally Switch too, so like it's got a lot of really cool options. I really liked how I used it in UGA on that run that I had. I think I ended up making it to like our division finals, which was like, that's really cool. And obviously like a dark flying type works really well with it. So I was happy to pick up Comfy. And I guess the next like three of the next four picks were picked more for the utility that they have. I'll talk about Drampa in a second. But like Hitmontop, Boltund, and Jellicent, all three of those were picked up for the utility that they offer to those first three. So like Hitmontop, of course, has Intimidate. Like that's a freaking amazing ability for VGC. It's got Fake Out, which is fantastic too. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is a Series 10 league, so there's no Dynamaxing here. So I think Fake Out becomes a little bit stronger that way. Like, you can dodge it using Protect, but you can't dodge it by maxing. Which, like, there were times where I played matches and I Dynamaxed to dodge a Fake Out that I thought was coming. So, like, not being able to do that in this league makes Fake Out a little bit stronger. So obviously, Hitmontop is fantastic. It's also got Wide Guard and Quick Guard, which are like pretty cool abilities to block opponent Fake Outs, or to kind of stop some of the spread damage that I think is more likely to be seen in this Series 10 format rather than the Dynamax format. So I think Hitmontop becomes a little bit stronger that way because of the Wide Guard, which I think is pretty cool. And then like Jellicent and Boltund are both kind of there for speed control, as well as well, they're really kind of there for speed control. So like Jellicent gives me another Trick Room setter. It gives me a really bulky water type, which I think is really powerful. If you've seen any of Jellicent, or not Jellicent, Matrix's comments or discussions or chatted with them at all, like, he's a huge fan of bulky water types in the Series 10 format. And I don't know, I think Jellicent is a really cool Pokemon. Strength Up is a freaking crazy cool ability, so that was part of my thinking when I got it. I had my eye on like potentially like Lurantis or Malamar, so like I was kind of considering that along with it, because who was it? It's H Saj, but it's Josh spelled backwards. I didn't even know that for the longest time. But anyway, he won our Feisty Friends, our Little Cup League. Our Little Cup League last season with a Frillish and an Inkay combo. And so like the Jellicent Strength Sap into the contrary Lurantis are a really cool combination that I managed to draft here too. So like there's some kind of looking down the road, but Jellicent is mostly there for the utility. Like Water Absorb is a really cool ability. It's got Strength Sap, which is absolutely fantastic, and like it kind of mitigates some of its, I mean, this doesn't have bad defensive bulk, but it's not the best, and then a special bulk is pretty good too. So like Strength Sap really helps out in that that physical defense. And then like, I don't know, it hits fairly hard. Like 85 isn't a terrible special attack stat, so I think it's a totally fine Pokemon on that front too, which is pretty cool. And then Boltund is there because I mean, I was looking at my team, so if you can see all the Pokemon that I've picked up until Boltund, like none of them are faster than speed 100, and like Comfy's technically speed 100, but like I don't know, I don't think you ever put any speed into Comfy. Maybe I'm wrong, but like it's not there because it's fast, it's there because it has good utility, you know. And so Boltund is a pretty nice Pokemon, just to give our team a faster mode. And like you can see, I have the Isa Alolan pair that I picked as my last two picks, and I like those were not on my radar at all when I picked Boltund. So I was actually looking at like potentially like almost not having a fast mode aside from Boltund supporting it with like Nuzzles or Thunder Waves or something like that, I guess. And so I got it because I really wanted to have a faster Pokemon, and I wanted to be able to stretch my speed tiers to get kind of that more elite speed tier. Like 121, it's not the fastest. There are definitely Pokemon that are fast in it, like the Tapu Kokos and the Dragapults and the Weaviles and stuff like that. But 121 is good. Like it's definitely solid. And Nuzzle's a fantastic ability, right? Like if you can get paralyzes on Pokemon, then all of my kind of mid-speed Pokemon, they look a lot faster, even though they're not. So it's mostly there because of the utility that it can provide. Competitive is honestly a freaking crazy good ability. I had this on my championship winning team last season, and it was on the championship winning team the first season. So hopefully I can continue Boltund's streak here with a championship season for season 3. But that Pokemon's just so cool. It's got a lot of really good options, and so I'm really excited to add it to this team, and I think it helps to kind of mitigate some of the weaknesses that our first picks had. Okay, so let's talk about Drempa. So when I picked Comfy, I had already decided that I wanted Drempa. And I wanted to get Hitmontop before that because I think the Intimidate is so valuable. But Drampa was definitely up there. And it's, oh my god, it's combos so well with Comfy. So I talked about having used the Galarian Moltres and Comfy as a combination. Well, I mean, Drampa works the same way. Like, both Galarian Moltres and Drampa are Berserk Pokemon. They're both weak to Fairy, so like they can both be like have a weakness policy triggered and become super crazy powerful, and then they drop below half and they get the Berserk bonus, and then you heal them up and then they get it again after they drop below half. And like, I don't know, that that combination is just like, it's just so noticeable, you know? Like, it's just too easy to see. And so like so Drampa was kind of the thought behind that. And so I wanted to grab that Pokemon. And so aside from Berserk, like Sapsipper and Cloud9 are both really cool abilities too. I don't have a team that's like particularly weak to grass types at all, but like Sapsipper could be pretty cool to run as a way to like mitigate any grass types that seem scary. I don't know. I don't think they are. Like, I don't think you look at this team and go, yes, I really need to bring my grass type. You know, like, yeah, no, you don't look at this team and think you need to bring your grass type at all. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm thinking. So I probably will never run Sapsipper. It's a cool ability, don't get me wrong, but like, who's going to bring their grass type against this team? It's going to get melted by both Marowak and Veltal and Nidoking and my Alolan Ice Core. Like, I don't know. I don't think anybody's bringing their grass types. Maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe I'm totally wrong. And then like, then those Pokemon nuke them. But like, I don't know. I just don't see it happening. Anyway, okay, so more about Drampa. Right, so the Berserk combo with Comfy, obviously talked about that. Like, very strong combination. Comfy also sets Trick Room for Drampa, which is also really nice too. I like how it pairs with Alolan Marowak. They don't share many weaknesses. In fact, do they share any? No, they don't. It's kind of cool. They're really good together. Like, yeah, no, they're really good together. So, and they're also different damage types, right? Alolan Marowak, super heavy physical attacker. Drampa, crazy special attack. So, like, those two together, along with Comfy, like, kind of form a really, really good Trick Room trio. And I think it's really hard to prep for too, right? Like, do you bring a lot of special bulk? Do you bring a lot of physical bulk? And then if you bring one or the other, then the other nukes you, you know? So, like, I think a lot of teams are going to have to prepare, like, mixed bulk on their Pokemon. And then I think one of my, like, super strong breakers or sweepers are just going to be able to claim through teams. So, anyway, that's part of the thinking behind Drampa and how it works really well with this team. Cloud9 is also a fantastic ability. Both Kyogre and Groudon were picked in our league, so having that as a way to mitigate the bonuses that those weather teams get is kind of nice there too. So and again, like at the time I picked Drampa, I wasn't considering having my own weather option, so like that was part of the thought process, but it was mostly about the Berserk and the healing with Comfy. Like, that's super cool. I'm so excited to use that this season. Okay, what do I want to talk about next? Let's talk about Lurantis. Yeah. So I talked a little bit about Lurantis and Jellicent. Like, Contrary is a freaking cool ability. I kind of like that I grabbed like a Contrary isn't exactly Defiant. Yeah, it's not exactly Defiant, but it's kind of, I almost want to say it's better than Defiant, you know? Like, Contrary being able to boost whatever stat is being lowered through Intimidates or through Snarls or through Bulldozes or through, I don't know, whatever the thing is. Like, Lurantis having Contrary is really cool. Is basically what I'm trying to say. There's the obviously pairing with Strength Sap Jellicent. So you Strength Sap your Lurantis, heal off of its physical attack stat while also boosting it, because Strength Sap usually lowers it, but Contrary changes that to raising it. So you can get a really powerful physical attacking Lurantis that way. And then, of course, it's got, like, superpower to raise its own defense, and it's got Leaf Storm, I think is the name of the move, that raises special attack. So, like, it can be a mixed attacker. It's pretty slow already, so, like, it's really good in Trick Room, too. So like pair that along with the Jellicent or the Comfy, and like I end up with like a really solid Trick Room Pokemon. It's kind of nice that I don't usually think about cores in terms of like what is it, like the fantasy core of Fairy, Steel, and Dragon. Yeah, I don't usually think of it that way, or like the Fire, Water, Grass cores and blah blah. Although we do have a pretty nice Fire, Water, Grass core as like a Trick Room option, you know, with the Alolan Marowak, Jellicent, and Lurantis. Like all three of those Pokemon are really good, and I think they work really well together. So Lurantis, I think, is just kind of a nice option. It's a Pokemon I've been wanting to try for a really long time, so when I was able to get Jellicent, I was like, of course, let's get Lurantis. Like the two of them just work well together. Okay, so Nidoking is the next one. It doesn't really combo with anything else necessarily, but it's kind of a Pokemon I just wanted. When I picked Veltal, I really wanted to have very few Pokemon that shared weaknesses with Veltal. And I wanted to have Pokemon that fought the things that wanted to threaten Veltal. And so Nidoking does that. it's pretty solid. Nidoking hits the rock types really hard. It hits the fairies really hard. It hits the electric types really hard. They share the ice weakness, but I don't know. You can't have everything you want in the world, right? So, but anyway, like I think that Nidoking works pretty well. I had Nidoking planned early on in the draft as something that I wanted, kind of similar to like how Alolan Marowak. Like I wanted something that would fight the things that would threaten Veltal, and so that was kind of the thinking behind getting Nidoking. But like Nidoking and Nidoqueen were the same number of points, and so I just waited to pick them up because I don't think there's a huge difference between them. I would, if someone had taken Nidoking, like I would have gladly picked Nidoqueen and like been totally fine. So either one of them, they're kind of interchangeable in my mind. Nidoking has a little better offense. Nidoqueen has a little better defense. I think the team wants the better offense. We have quite a few defensive options, and so having another Pokemon that's a little bit faster too. Nidoking's actually a little bit faster than Queen. So having a Pokemon that's a little bit faster also means that our team has a little bit more to its fast mode when so much of our team looks like it's a slow mode, you know? Like you look at the Fire, Water, Grass core plus Drampa, and like those 4 Pokemon, and like kind of Comfy. I don't know, Comfy's too quick to really be good in Trick Room, but like it's good in Trick Room because of its priority. So, but like those 4 Mons, the Drampa, Alolan Marowak, Jellicent, and Lurantis, like all 4 of those Mons really kind of want to be in Trick Room, and so like having something that's a faster option with Nidoking gives me another mode to pair along with like the Boltund and Veltal that I had going on. So it really kind of supports the faster option, and I wanted to have that for the team. I use Nidoking actually on the same team with the Galarian Moltres and Comfy from that UGA season, so I'm a little familiar with it already, and I think it's a really strong Pokemon. I've played it in singles too. Like Sheer Force is nuts. that move, or not move, that ability is no joke. You deal so much extra damage with that ability. And having a non-Dynamax format, I think, makes Nidoking a little bit stronger too. Okay, so let's talk about the last 2 picks. The Hail Core, the Ninetales and the Sandslash. Those I had, oh man, I don't even know how to put this. I did not have those 2 Pokemon on my radar for such a long time. Like, I don't even think I considered picking those 2 until it was my turn to pick, and I just grabbed Alolan Ninetales. And it was at that point where I knew that I wanted the 2 of them. Like, when I picked Alolan Ninetales, like, I knew I was going to grab Alolan Sandslash. But I was really debating what I wanted for this team. And I mean, if you look at the first, what is that? 4 plus 5. So like, if you look at the first 9 Pokemon I grabbed, like that team looks really good. Like I could have kind of just like wasted my remaining points, to be honest. Like I don't even know if I need to use them, just because like the 9 Pokemon that I rate there, like they look really good. And they have they have mixed damage types, they have debuffing options, they have synergy, they have fast and slow modes, they have I don't know, they have it all, you know, like that's what I'm trying to say. They have it all. So it was really tough to figure out like what I wanted to do with my last 2 picks, because like I want them to be worthwhile, you know, like I don't want to just throw away points and not use or even consider the Pokemon that I pick. And I was trying to play around with like different types and different combinations with like the remaining points. I knew I wanted a Steel type. I think the team I have, yeah, so the 9 Pokemon that are there ahead of this, like they're potentially a little weak to Ice. Yeah, kinda, not really. I don't know, they're a little weak to Ice. Yeah, like both Hitmontop and Alolan Marowak are probably like the 2 best against Ice types, and like I don't count Jellicent for that because Freeze Dry is a thing. But it's aside from that, like Jellicent would be pretty good against Ice types. So Alolan Ninetales and Sandslash are both pretty solid against Ice types, at least Alolan Sandslash is. So like that was part of the thinking. Was like I was a little weak to Ice, so having those meant that like in general my Ice weakness was not as pronounced, and like I have my own option to fight as an Ice team. Having a Weather option was really cool too. I don't think I've drafted Weather on like any team that I've done, whether VGC or singles. I don't think I've ever drafted Weather. So having Weather, it's one of the things that I think you have to do as a player is to go outside your comfort zone. And you really got to try out Pokemon that you would not normally consider. And it gives you an opportunity to play around with things that you're maybe not comfortable with a little bit, and expands your horizons, right? And by doing that, you become a little bit better than you were before you tried it. So like having a Weather option I think is really good. Like I want to do that. I want to play with that kind of team because I want to become a better player. And so having the Weather option was a little bit of that thinking too. And of course, like I think it works really well with the team, right? I talked about the 9 Pokemon and I was kind of missing a fast mode, right? Like I have Tailwind on Veltal, but like who's taking advantage of that? Like Nidoking? Like I don't know, that's not Hitmontop, like that's more of a utility Pokemon. Although maybe I'll bring Technician Hitmontop. Y'all better be careful. But like I didn't really have much of a fast mode, and Slush Rush from Alolan Sandslash gives me a little bit of a faster mode. Alolan Ninetales is already pretty quick, so that gives me a little bit of a faster mode too. And then having that way to fight against some of the Weather teams is kind of cool too, as well as having screens now. That was something that my team was kind of lacking, which I think is a good option to have for VGC in a general sense. Like it's good to have the option of bringing screens against some of those teams that you like cannot, like you just can't EV to take hits from. So having that I think is really good. So the combination of or like adding those 2 Pokemon afterwards I think was really solid too. Plus like having the Steel typing from Sandslash, like I knew I wanted to get a Steel type, so that was kind of the thought process. And like, look at the logo, you know, look at the Sacramento Sandslash logo, and we got part of the mascot, right? Like we got the Alolan Sandslash, and I'm so excited to draft that Pokemon. So I don't know, I look back at this team overall, and I think I said toward the beginning that this is maybe like my 4th or 5th time trying to talk about this team. And there's just there's so much to talk about. Like, I don't know. I think I'm around, like, I'm close to a half hour looking at my recording right now. And, like, I almost feel like I scratched the surface a little bit. Like, there's so much more that could be done here. And, like, I don't know. Y'all got things to do, right? Like, you don't want to listen to me talk about Pokemon for the whole day. But, like, this team is really cool. And I don't think I realized how good it was until I, like, until I started talking about it from the draft analysis standpoint. Like, of course I thought all the Pokemon are good when I picked them, right? Like, otherwise I wouldn't have picked it. But like, once I started looking at it and started talking more about the synergy between the Pokemon, and like, I would start talking about one and I'd go at a ton of tangent about the other, and then like I'd start to go back to the other Pokemon, and I did that a little with this video too, right? Like I started talking about Drampa, and then I went back to Alolan Sandslash, or Alolan Marowak, and then I started about Comfey, and then when I was talking about Jellicent, I talked about Lurantis, and like what I'm trying to say is the Pokemon work well together, right? It's pretty cool synergy, and I like it. So I'm really excited to see how this team does this season and how I'm able to utilize it. It just, it feels so cool. I'm super excited. Okay, I'm gonna call it here. Check out so check out the description. It'll have a link to some of the other coaches. I think we have a couple people who are going to be recording, so definitely go check out their channels. I don't know if any of them are doing draft analysis or if they're just doing the games, but either way, go over, support them and whatnot. And yeah, I mean, there was something else I wanted to say too. Oh yeah. Let me know what you think of the team in the comments. If you see anything that like seems like a big weakness, or if you notice something that that you think could be improved upon, like I'm always open to hearing feedback about teams and what people think about them. So definitely share those in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. And all right, let's go and call it here. If you'd like to see some more of our content, whether it's VGC or singles, this is the place to be. Like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And I'll catch you on the next one.